Good afternoon. My name is Zach Thompson. I'm the Clay County Prosecutor. I am joined by Chief Greg Dole of the Excelsior Springs Police Department, Sergeant Chris Johnson of the Clay County Sheriff's Department, Captain Nathan Mulch of the Liberty Police Department, Captain Carl Burris of the Gladstone Police Department, and also in attendance is investigators Michael Bailey and Timothy Haslett with the Clay County Prosecutor's Office. I want to begin by saying that the charge of an offense is not evidence of guilt, and the defendants are presumed innocent until found guilty in a court of law. I also want to say that my heart goes out to the victims and the families in this case. Today, the Clay County Grand Jury indicted Timothy Haslett Jr. on 10 felony counts. The defendant was previously charged with 9 felonies, including rape, sodomy, kidnapping, assault, and endangering the welfare of a child. Those charges remain the same. The new charge is for the murder of Janie Crosdale. Specifically, that between June 6, 2022, and October 7, 2022 in Clay County, Missouri, the defendant, after deliberation, knowingly caused the death of Janie Crosdale by an act of homicidal violence. Murder in the first degree is an A felony, and the range of punishment for that offense is either death or imprisonment for life without the eligibility of probation or parole. The court set the defendant's bond at $5 million. We became aware of the facts of this case beginning on October 7, 2022, when the defendant's surviving victim was able to escape captivity from the defendant's basement. Since that day, the defendant has remained in custody. Investigators from over 16 law enforcement agencies have worked together pursuing over 100 leads and reviewing evidence. I commend their hard work on this case. During the investigation, over 100,000 photo and video files were recovered, and investigators have been spending countless hours reviewing them for relevant evidence. Today's indictment represents the next step in our pursuit of justice for the victims, the families, and our community. The physical, psychological, and sexual torture described by the defendant's surviving victim is brutal and barbaric. When crimes like this occur in our community, it can be devastating. So I want the citizens of Clay County to know that the men and women of the Clay County Prosecutor's Office are working hard inside and outside the courtroom and doing everything we can to keep them safe and deliver justice. Our work continues. I would urge anyone who knows anything about this case to contact the Excelsior Springs Police Department. With that being said, and understanding this is an open and pending case, I will answer a few questions.
So you think Ms. Crosdale was killed before the person escaped?
Correct.
And do you think that there are other victims, like the witness stated that Timothy had told them that there were multiple people that he killed previous to the woman escaping?
Right. So today's indictment represents all available charges with the facts and evidence available to us. Right. The surviving victim did mention that the defendant stated he had killed 2 people, but today's charges represent everything we can charge with the available evidence.
It's one additional charge, more than the 9 that were already existing, correct?
Correct. The 9 original charges are the same. The only additional charge is the charge of murder in first degree.
How do you believe that Timothy Haslett came to know Janie Crosdale?
Well, the evidence is that Janie Crosdale had previously been arrested for commercial sex work, and that is how they came in contact with each other.
What is most
But I want to say to your question, right? In Clay County, regardless of who you are, how much money you have, what the color of your skin is, everyone is entitled to equal protection.
to you, what stands out most? What's most egregious about this case?
So my goal in this case, like every other case, right, is to find justice inside the courtroom. So I will save all those comments in the presentation of that type of evidence for Clay County Court.
Mr. Haslett suspected of any other crimes of violence at this time?
So the probable cause statement indicates, right, that he had told his surviving victim that he had taken the life of two previous people, right? The charge we have right now for murder for Jamie Crosdale represents all available charges that is possible considering the facts and evidence we have.
Can you clarify in the probable cause statement, it described Ms. Crosdale as being with some kind of projectile? I can't remember the exact wording. Was she shot, or what does that mean in everyday terms? Do we know?
So the autopsy done indicated that there was perimortem wounds, which means at or near the time of death, right? They describe those as high impact. There is evidence that the barrel where Ms. Crosdale's remains were found, that it was shot. There appears to be a bullet in the barrel.
You think she was shot in the barrel, possibly?
Well, the evidence indicates, right, that her remains showed impact wounds consistent with a gunshot.
Does this new charge move folks in the step of justice? I mean, what should citizens be thinking? This really shook up the community. Lots of communities heard about this case. A lot of people are hoping for justice.
I think the takeaway from this case is the fact that law enforcement officers from over 16 different agencies worked together, spent countless hours investigating this case, and were able to bring the next step for justice for the victims, the families, and our community.
And when is the next date of trial, or where are we on that?
So the court would have set a date. I can get that information to you for the next date.
How is James feeling?
Our victim advocate has been in communication with Ms. Crosdale's family. I don't want to speculate as to what their emotional state is.
If there's time for just one quote, what's the main thing you want people to hear when they hear about these egregious new offenses and charges?
I think that the takeaway, right, is that law enforcement agencies in Clay County, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office will work hard to protect you, and it doesn't matter where you come from or how much money you have in the bank or what your job is, you deserve equal protection.
I know you had originally said already that you told the surviving victim about taking the life of another person. Are there any leads on whether there actually are additional victims at this time?
So this remains an open investigation. To that point, I would ask anybody with any kind of information about the case, please reach out to law enforcement, share that information, but it remains an active investigation.
And reiterating, you were able to connect Haslett to Ms. Crosdale through DNA evidence as well?
So Ms. Crosdale appears on a still image taken from Mr. Haslett's electronic device, showing her inside his basement. An SD card depicting the individual was connected to Ms. Crosdale, was found inside his house, and he made statements to the surviving victim that he'd taken someone else's life. And Ms. Crosdale was also found in a blue barrel of the same manufacturer as the ones found at the defendant's house.
And were there any other, besides the surviving victim and Ms. Crosdale, people shown inside his basement?
So this remains an open investigation, right? So, but I can say that the indictment today represents all available charges